in food is my cooking. That is a fair critique and observation. I can't argue against it strongly, but I also think that a little bit of self-loathing comes into play, and a little bit of inability to have more success in dating kind of has an effect at a point. So, we all pick our vices, is the idea. Okay, 90th birthday, Georgetown. Again, by Georgetown, spiritually, the caricature of DC, which you can despise, like the State Department and just like the bad actors who ruin lives are in Georgetown. Right. The Royal Iranian flag, like, I don't know, bro, if you're advocating for the Shah, can't say you're on the right side of history, Oh, but anyways, oh gosh, that was too direct a political statement. I need to stay vague. Vaguely looks like remediations. I need to stay vague the same way I stay vague about well, I take it back. Clearly, if I talked about time, and yes, I do think Rachel McAdams, or certainly 2013. Yeah, Rachel McAdams and him are pretty good looking in that movie, I suppose. Yeah. So I think this is the place, given all the houses. I think so. I get it right. Yeah. I think so. But yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 SUVs this time around. But whoa. Yeah. Would stick around longer, but it is actually, again, right, like a pretty accessible place to walk. Gosh, the camera. It is a pretty accessible address to walk by, and it makes sense for Beston also, right? To get down to Treasury from over here. 3 SUVs running all the time, not great per se, but you do what you can. Now, we don't have a long walk back to DuPont. Any remaining rambling topics to talk about? Not much. This was a longer video. Can't say this will be a consistent trend going forward. Again, I do think self-loathing is a perfectly reasonable, motivating emotion that keep you going. But it is funny though, like if you don't have any context for that being Beston's house and you walk by, it's like, how come there's 3 SUVs running all the time outside it? Like, yeah, it's good for the property value, right? Or something like that. But I do suppose the question is like, what happens to it after the Trump presidency? I'm not sure. I haven't done my reading on like when the president switches to the VP. Do they keep the same secretary guys, or is there new secretary bros or gals? Not quite sure. I can't say it's at the top of my list of things that I want to look into today. I have a couple things. There's a couple new insurance companies that have gone public. One is like Neptune, and there's Florida. There's a Florida MGA, so they underwrite, but they don't take the underlying risk. Like, I believe they're focused on Florida. So pretending to understand insurance companies, one of my favorite pastimes. What it really boils down to, I look at the price to book. It's like, is it below price to book? If yes, then we buy. If no, do I think it deserves to trade above book? It's like, well, what do I know about insurance companies? Common ratio, ROE. It's like, yeah, I do suppose that's kind of all you got for insurance, man. You know? It's the same lesson. Like, I've taken the wrong lesson from bank investing. It's like, right, because I suppose the first bank I owned was JP Morgan back in 2020 when I turned 18. And there was some money laundering fine, and it declined a bit. It was I think it was like 2x book, maybe 1x, like high 1s to 2x book at that point. Like, I don't know, it's JP Morgan. Like, qualitatively. Excuse me. Said the audience, thank you, said me. But qualitatively, JP Morgan's the best bank in the US. You could argue. Like, yeah, no, what can go wrong, right? Because I think even then I had the mindset that, like what could go wrong in a bank? You know, so, not a lot, right? The bank either goes bust, it stops paying dividends, doing any buyback stuff. In which case, the bank becomes dead money. But like, you can be confident the bank won't go bust. And at a certain point, like, if the price to book ever trades so cheaply, you can like do things around that. So effectively, bank investing just becomes a function of, will it go bust? And if that's the investing question, like, I am very happy to live in that context, right? Because, like, worst case, if the bank is dead money, like or all European banks, except maybe UniCredit did better, because Andrea Orcel is just a Chad finance bro who knows what he's doing. Andrea Orcel. I will say there are sometimes, you know, bank executives have cool names. I just was the case Andrea Orcel. It's just because he's Italian, Portuguese or something. I suppose that's not truly that interesting or novel. So I just suppose, yeah, it comes the banking sector is the one sector I follow. I do follow banks more closely, just because, like, they're interesting entities, right? Like, if you think about it, banks are literally extensions of the government, right? Because conceptually, right, the government backstops banks. Implicitly, right? And they also, therefore, or just by regulation, right, they enforce the laws of a bank. And because financial controls are so crucial, right? Like, if you control a bank and you can kick someone off SWIFT, or you can have extensive anti-money laundering law enforcement, right? Like that there's literally a policy objective that you can enforce, right? So, you know, yeah, it's like, I don't know. So what, like, I buy UBS after the GFC, and it's dead money, but it's UBS. Again, this is a big fallacy, right? Like, you could have made the same argument, the same simpleton argument for Credit Suisse, and that would have blown up in my face. But I was like, even if you stick to domestically, right? Like, I don't think First Republic or Silicon Valley Bank would be like the tier of bank you would apply the easy heuristic for, right? They like Bank of America or like Citigroup. Like, I think Citigroup would be the perfect example of something like this, right? Like Citigroup, like, I don't know if you call Citigroup iconic. I don't think it has an iconic brand per se, but like, you know, it has a massive global presence, right? Like, if anything, that's huge criticism of it, right? Its global presence is way too big, right? With Banamex and everything. But no, like, that's a classic bank. I could imagine fitting like that. Like, too big to fail, so it's safe, and it's an institution unto itself. You know, you could so see it fitting that mold. So see it. So yeah, like, there you go. It would have been dead money, but you would have just kept on buying shares at like half a tangible book, right? Or like even like a third of book at points. And it's like, are you really going to penalize me that much for just continuously buying a half book? Okay, I will take that. You know. So yeah, so there we go. Bank investing. Okay, so I guess back to finish up what I was talking about to start, like grooming appearance. So we talked about hair, and we talked about just the existence of having long hair. But the other part, implicitly, is the styling of it. I think that's an area where I made passing comments on texture, which I have a couple easy gimmicks to try to back into. Can't say they're overly convincing and or effective. So I think the effectiveness point is yeah, it's like, how do you measure it? How do you measure effectiveness? Like, again, right, you can't really isolate the effect of your hair style on your outcomes. Clearly, I'm only interested in one type of outcome. A little bit more, I don't know, just a coffee chat. Just a coffee chat, you know? Is that too much? Is that too adventurous of a thing? Maybe. Ah, damn it. Yes, the wistfulness in my voice came through. But gosh. Yeah, so honestly what I need to do, I just need to dedicate an hour and literally just watch 3 videos on how to style straight Asian hair. Make a list of the products that they recommend and use, and go for it. Like, it's that simple of what I need to do, you know? So it's something I probably should do. At the very least, it tickles my vanity. I do suppose at the end, like, if you can't have anything else, at least you can have vanity, right? Because vanity is ultimately in the eye of the beholder. As much as I do have self-loathing, I do try to like myself. I do think I can be occasionally charming, I think moderately conscientious, overly conscientious at times, right? For example, a big thing is, like, you don't want to like hog someone's time. And like, other people have other options of what they could be doing. So it's like, you don't want to monopolize their time. So, and it is actually, think about it, right? It is very rare to have moments where you have a captive audience. Like, dates are kind of like that. But even then, like, if it's a date, you do have like a certain amount of time to make an impression what the other person realize. Unless of course, like, you're really, like, you're winning on the attractiveness, physical attractiveness front. In this case, you probably along the leash. But unless you're like on a subway or in a car, like, you don't really have a captive audience. So you have to. So it's, you gotta amuse yourself somehow, in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really selling myself, am I? Someone made a comment that what you should do is like having like a why you should date me, like, Google Doc is a good idea, because even if it's marginal and it doesn't really have an impact, if it works for one person, it has a positive effect. That's an SUV. Let's move it right there. Would that be Besson? Do you think the Secret Service cars use turn signals effectively or liberally? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. So as we remember, right, good old Turkish embassy right there. Gosh. Now we straight shot it to DuPont. Oh, this was so what? Yeah, this will be close to 2 hours. So, again, right, live life, just again, right, the biggest thing, right, I cover someone who's not well traveled, is literally just like walking around and stuff. Like, I truly think that is the actual, like, best formula for enjoying a trip, is not trying to fill things in. Because presumably in your regular existence, you fill things in, or like you have regimented, and it's having an empty calendar, right? Like you want to get from place X to place Y, but there's no need to be prescriptive about how you get there. Right. I think that's uplifting. Or if not uplifting, at least moderately charming of a worldview. At the end of the day, that's kind of all I want, right? Well, I take that back. I want a great many things, but just being passively charmed it would be nice. Or is maybe the platonic ideal, right? Be passively charmed by my own amusements. Passively charmed by the opposite setup. Well, yeah. Again, right, like the self-consciousness when filming, like, okay, the opposite setup? What? No, the opposite gender. Yeah. Well, our time draws short, but okay, a couple SUVs outside of one of those weird literary societies. I suppose it is fitting for DuPont to have those societies. If any place has to have them, right? But oh man, Cincinnati is Cincinnati. I've made a comment before, but Cincinnati could truly be a world-class city if not for the highway demolitions that occurred. you know, there is wisdom and there is not wisdom. I think destroying that type of architecture is probably in the latter category of not wisdom. But who is to say? Not I, said the fly. Bro, honestly, the distract suit is genuinely so good, bro. Like, I wholly agree, wholeheartedly, that I look like a knob. I fully agree with that. I appreciate that. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I rock with it, dude. Like, I don't know if it's like you call it insulation, but there is like, there's some density to it, you know, like you could it could actually work as like a fall jacket, you know. I bump into some Giallo Rossi bros on the subway. It's like, we are vibing, bro. We are living life at that point, you know. Always a bit amusing that Indonesia has probably one of the better embassies around. Again, right, because you don't really think about Indonesia a whole lot in the day-to-day. Always, yeah, it's like you tend to hear about places when something bad happens, right? But you don't really hear about it in the passive, like, good things are happening sense. In Indonesia, I certainly fits that bill. I suppose we made a mistake of picking the option. We have two different subway stops. We could walk to. This was the easier walk. But we'll say that bank branch always surprises me. It's very charming for it being older style. But then it's back on the city bank point. It's literally just a city branch. It's a very lame thing to do. But actually, when you visit a city, just like keeping track of all the different bank branches is actually, I think, a decent mini game to do. Because, like, there's a nice article about the business logic of bank branches, where bank branches are literally just customer acquisition tools. And presumably there's some like aging, it's like they'll be less relevant going forward, but like there is some inertia. And so if you like bank branches, they cost money to set up, they are operation intensive. And so if there's a reason why they exist, you should kind of appreciate it while it still does. So yep, those are today's ramblings. So catch up.